Hi, I'm Patrick Milam. I'm the Director of Content Development here at NexLearn. The biggest challenge working with SMEs is probably the fact that since they're typically not involved in course development, they may not be 100% committed to the project. They have their own deadlines and commitments to address, so finding time in their schedule to answer your questions can be difficult. In fact, we found that many times the SME is the primary reason for development delays. So when you schedule your time with SMEs, make sure you have enough time so that any delays don't push back the rest of your development plan. Starting your interview session with the SME, you need to consider that since the SMEs have most likely not been in all the pre-planning meetings that you've been in, they're at a disadvantage. They're not sure what you expect from them, what you expect them to know. So that can sometimes make them a little apprehensive. So really before the interview even begins, when you contact them to schedule time, be sure to let them know what the course you're creating is about and give them some guidelines, some outline, what you expect from them. Um, Keep in mind, SMEs typically have decades worth of information bouncing around their heads, so it's really up to the instructional designer to help guide them to make sure the SME gives you the information that you need for the course. Um, when they have an idea of what they'll be discussing beforehand, that they feel a little bit more comfortable and should be able to offer better, more targeted answers for you. And also keep in mind that only a fraction of the information the SMEs provide you may make it directly into the course. Many of the questions you ask may be just geared to helping you better understand the course topic. You need to learn the common language, the terms, definitions, anything that's specific to that company or industry that you're trying to create the content for. You want the learners to really relate to that, so you need to speak their language. Even if you think you know quite a bit about the topic, before you go to the SME interview, go in there with an open mind and don't be afraid to ask the basic questions. Types of question you should ask your SME really depends on the content you're trying to gather from them. If it's instructional or maybe a conversational, maybe a company culture type course you're trying to create. But really, SMEs often respond to questions with the answers they think you want to hear. If you ask about a process, they'll probably recite some sort of training manual or maybe a previous PowerPoint that they use to define each of the steps. That's good to know, but really what we need is much more. Ask the SMEs what and how questions, but also ask why. It's good to learn how to do something correctly, but almost as important, learn what to do when procedures aren't followed correctly. Ask the SME about common errors employees often make, and then ask about the consequences. We talk a lot about failing forward with our customers, learning from mistakes. Too many training courses out there only include training material, instructional material, step one, step two, step three of a process. And then they offer a multiple choice assessment at the end to make sure that they can recall each step. Well, that's okay, but what happens when that employee is back at work and something goes wrong in step two? Are they prepared to make adjustments? Instructional designers need to explore the how to as well as the how not to approach. And SMEs can help fill in those blanks. Really, 3 points to keep in mind when conducting your SME interviews is be prepared. Do your research before the interview so you have an idea about the type of information you need to collect from the SME. That means review any existing training materials or read manuals, search for articles on the web, anything that will help you form quality questions. Second, we really want to ask short, open-ended questions with plenty of follow-up questions to get the SME to go, beyond the routine PowerPoint type presentation. They may be used to giving, set answers. Don't be afraid to ask why questions several times to really dig down, and get to the heart of the material that you're trying to teach. And finally, listen. Ask your questions and then be quiet. Let the SME complete their thought before you speak again.